What's up, YouTube? Today I wanted to knock out another top 5 video. We've gotten jungles down, we've gotten mids down. Those have not changed all too much. Jungles will be updated shortly though, just because of a little bit of changes I went through. But anyway, we're gonna do top 5 supports today. We're gonna knock it out quickly, straightforward. All the builds will not be the same. Well, will pretty much be the same. Sorry, they will not change from god to god because you're kind of building based on the way the game is going, and there are some generic builds. I'm going to give you a generic build and then talk about the other items you can throw into the build. But realistically, going the same, similar build will work all the time. If they have more magic, you'll go more magic defense base. If they have more physical, you'll go a little bit more physical defense base. If they have a bunch of hunters, you might go some anti-attack speed. Is that some lowered attack speed? And then if you have a bunch of hunters, you might prioritize a Shoguns or something over top of the other items. So with that being said, we're gonna go all the way 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, work our way up. At number 5, we're starting at Sobek, and I will jump into a build first just so you guys aren't all confused and don't know what's going on, blah blah blah. So starter items, pretty straightforward. You're getting Watcher's Gift, and then you are also starting with Lano's Mask. Then you will go ahead and go straight into your boots. Your boots should pretty much every time be Traveler Shoes. Now, if you're playing a different Guardian because you like to play it more like an Ares or a Bacchus, or pretty much those two mainly, or Athena, you can change up your boots if you really want to. Realistically, Travelers is going to be consistently very strong. Make sure you're getting the proc on Travelers. You're running up and poking. You're a Guardian, you're extremely safe. If you are playing a Guardian and you are going Traveler Shoes and you are not trying to get the procs on your Travelers every time they're up, then you're playing the Guardians wrong. Obviously, don't waste your dashes. Don't get caught out of position to do so. But most of the time, especially on all these Guardians, they all have some mobility to make them pretty safe. So like Sobek, walk up, use your 3, run away. Boom. You've got your proc off. You're good to go. After Traveler Shoes, you're going for a little bit of the cheaper, easier to get a hold of items. Rushing Jade Emperor is a very, very strong item, especially if physical defense is the core of their team comp. Then after that, I'll be looking at some magical defense. I really like the Voidstone. I think the Voidstone does very well. But like I said earlier, if you have more than one hunter, or your attack speed is just going to be very good for you. Say you have a Soul or Chronos and a hunter. Say you have a Mercury, a Kali, and a hunter. Any really mix of those gods, you can go ahead and grab yourself a Shoguns instead. Like I said, really liking Voidstone. It gives you magical protection, gives you health. It gives you an aura that helps your team do damage. Really strong item, nothing wrong with it. This is kind of the core. Once again, this item can change and it's not a big deal. You're looking at other magical items to replace it usually. Heart Ward, if they are heavy magical as well, would be very strong because that aura will help your team. Granted, auras are not key anymore. You are not building all the aura items that is not your goal anymore. Period. Done. I like to go, and it seems like the stronger build, especially in your ranked games, is going to be the more selfish builds. So like a Spirit's Robe here, very strong, gives you defense, gives you CDR, selfish, really strong. Right now, you don't have too much health. You've got 250 out of your items. I like to go into a much more health-oriented item. Looking for it. Where is it? I always forget the names of the the defense items. There it is. Gauntlet Thieves. I always forget the name of these items. I don't know why. It just happens. Gauntlet Thieves, pretty cheap item, along with Jade Emperors and Voidstone. You're sitting on 3 items that are 2,100 gold. Really core for you because you're a freaking support who has no gold. Pretty straightforward, right? So you're 5 items deep in your build here. You got your 2 starter items. This is where it's completely up to you. And this Gauntlet of Thieves can swap. If you are winning the game, or you like heavily, like you guys are pushing towers, I dropped this Gauntlet of Thebes. It is still another health item, but I get Emperor's Armor. Emperor's Armor allows you to either push or defend a little bit better. It makes towers attack slower. I think it also causes the attack speed reduce. So, oh, sorry, yeah, it's just it's 2 different numbers. Attack speed is decreased by 30% and it's increased by 30%. So if you're defending, say you're heavily losing the game at this point, grab this to defend. Your towers will attack better, faster. It'll help you defend. Obviously, straightforward. If you're pushing, say you're ahead, so you've got the 10k gold lead, it's time to start pushing towers. Use Emperor's Armor in this slot. Use it as a pushing tool. It'll slow the other towers down. It'll make it harder for them to defend, and it's a very strong item. And then once again, I still go for the other health item. I think health is doing immensely well on supports. With this build, you're sitting on a decent amount of defense. You've got your magic. You've got all this. You get a little bit of physical out of the Emperor's armor. You get a freaking ton of health. Granted, with this build, you are a little bit squishier. It's okay to not go Gauntlet of Thebes here. You can pick up any defensive item based on what you need. If they have a bunch of hunters, you get a hide, you get a mid-guardian mail. If they have really that's it, honestly. If you want to go for more CDR and be a little bit even more selfish, you can get a mantle. But my favorite build is the one I went with. This is the generic build I would recommend. This is, if someone asks me, what do I need to build? I'm not going to tell you the team comp, I just need to know what to build. Boom. This is generic, very safe, very strong, a lot of health involved. You're good to go. Actives wise on Guardians, pretty much always starting with a shell, especially on someone like Sobek. If you're playing Geb, Sylvanas, maybe even Ymir, you can Ares, you can start with Blink over Shell, 100%. You'll be good to go. And then as your second relic, 100% team based, 100% based on what your team needs. Always is, always will be. You're almost never getting beads unless they have an execute and you're just getting farmed. Say you're an immobile Ymir or something. You're just getting farmed. You're getting out Quang ulted. It's okay for you to go beads. That's allowed. But generically, you're going to either be getting a heavenly for your team. You're going to be getting a more supporty type relic like a Curse Ankh if they just have a ton of healing and you guys aren't getting anti-healing. Or something like a Phantom to deal with a Noted. Those are your three, what do I need? What does my team need for me right here? Completely up to you. This can also be if you are tanking a lot of auto attack damage or they have a bunch of hunters, a shield, it can be a Thorns, and you'll be fine. This is a really generic, a little bit less support based. This is more something you see on the solo laners. Definitely something you can go though, but usually I'm going double, help my team out, getting a heavenly, getting a shell. Just make sure your team lives. That's your goal as a support. Someone like Sobek, very easy to poke, very aggressive god. Don't waste your dash, your pluck unless people are around. Use your ult all the time. It's okay to waste your ult. It's not going to be the end of the world. Granted, you obviously don't want to just throw it out for no fucking reason, but if you think it might be useful, use it. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't do what you need it to do. Easy. Ability-wise on Sobek, you should really know what you're doing here. I personally like to level the 3. The 3 is going to give you a little bit of healing, which is great for sustain, especially when you're doing what I said with your boots. Just going for that extra gold, those procs all the time, the sustain. Essentially, you're leveling your 3. Your ult gives you mana back. If you did not know, I feel like a lot of lower end players have never realized this. The mana you get from your ult is huge. It's dramatic for Sobek, even as a support player. You don't have to back all the time because you've got sustain on his kit. People just don't understand that. Your 2, please make sure you're not wasting your 2 in team fights and engagements. It is your essential peel. You're using your pluck, your 1, 90% of the time to set your team up, to target that person, to get damage in, to kill that guy. Sometimes it is used for peel, very rarely. The 2, however, is used for peel, for breaking up team fights. Sobek does very well against gods like Serket, Mercury, anything assassin-wise has to be in your face. You can break up that engagement very, very easily with your 2. So please make sure you're doing that. And that's Sobek for you. I have Sobek at number 5 simply because his engage is decent, his peel is decent, but his kit is not amazing in all situations. If you are being engaged on, you have that little amount of peel, but essentially if you fall behind, it's pretty much over for you and you're not going to be too relevant for your team. You're going to die too quickly and you're just going to do nothing. So back at number 5, we're going to work our way once again down. I am going to put, remember, this is a competitive idea. The idea for this top 5 is always competitive. In ranked, it will be a little bit different. I'm going to tell you my 4 and my 3 real quick. So Geb and Sylvanas are my 4 and my 3. For ranked, I would 110% put Geb higher on the list. I would put Geb at 3. But for competitive, I would put Sylvanas higher. In ranked, you get focused a lot as a support because your team doesn't follow up with you, doesn't follow you around, and it's better when you have a little bit of mobility or you are a little bit safer. Always, right? Well, Sylvanas has none of that. You have your ult and you're fucked after that, right? Well, Geb has the shield to save himself, has the rollout, has the ult, has this knockup, has a bunch of ways out of a team fight, of a situation if you put yourself in it. So that's why I have Geb higher. Once again, Sylvanas in competitive, you have your team around you. You're very rarely by yourself. You're engaging with your team. You have peel coming out of the other members of your team. You've got the sustain because your team knows they can back up, heal up, go back in. That doesn't happen in ranked. So for this list, I am going to put Geb at 4. If you're thinking ranked wise, put Geb a little bit higher. Geb, not going to go over the build. As I said, the builds are all pretty much the same in my opinion for these top 5. Geb's straightforward. You're simply rotating around. You're shielding the people that need shields. Don't waste your shield on your fucking self for no reason unless you're getting heavily targeted. Position properly. After you throw your shield out, you are looking to peel for your team. Your 2 is amazing peel. It doesn't have to go on the damage dealer in late game team fights. It can go on the assassin that's diving your team. It can go on the hunter to disrupt them for a second and allow your team to reposition. You can do all of that. And your ult does not have to hit 8 people on Geb. It's okay for your ult to hit the core, to hit the hunter, to hit the mage, to hit the assassin. It can only hit one person and you're fine. You really do not want to be dropping your Geb ult into the other support by himself, the other solo by himself. Try to avoid those 2. Try to hit the squishies. Try to use it for the proper either peel or engagement. If you got a blink, engage with that bitch. If you don't have a blink, let your team start the fight. Try to position where you think is best. And then as soon as you see the optimum time for your team to get on that target, ultimate. And if that time doesn't come, just stay with your squishy, stay with your mage, stay with your hunter, and peel for them with that ult, peel for them with that knockup. Stand in front of them, eat the autos, do what you got to do because Geb is very good at that. Please make sure you're doing that as a support player. So, number 3, as we said, Geb and Sylvanas kind of flip-flop for me. Sylvanas, stick with your team. Do not get caught out. Having the blink engage and calling that you want to fight is going to be important for Sylvanas in a ranked gameplay. Please, please make sure you're looking at it that way. And remember, you can tell your team, back off. It's okay. We lost a fight. Let's heal up. They don't have sustain. Hopefully they don't. Pay attention to that. They don't have sustain. Back off. Use your heal twice on Sylvanas. Go back on the objective. Bait him in again. Redo the team fight. Easy peasy. Straightforward. Nothing too wild. One thing I didn't mention about supports right now that I really should. In the meta that's taken over, solos and jungles are starting in the solo lane. Mid and supports are starting in the mid lane. Sylvanas has heavy, crazy clear. Make sure you and your mid are in the lane early before the waves come out. Sit there, throw your autos out, meet the wave at their tower. Obviously, don't be too far up if you don't know where the rest of the team is. Don't get fucking ganked too early. But when the waves are meeting on the first towers, on their own towers, walk up, start hitting the wave early because you've got ranged autos on a guardian, which is not a common theme among all the guardians. It's something you need to take advantage of. So please do that. That is why Sylvanas is so fucking strong and competitive, because people use Sylvanas for pressure, and they keep the pressure up the whole time, and they have poke with sustain coming out of their team, and you have sustain coming out of you. You've got this root pool combo that you can use to do damage, to poke, to kill, and you need to use that on Sylvanas. Super straightforward. Now we're going to get into our top 2. You are seeing these in every competitive game. You are seeing these in almost every ranked game. Ganesh, number 2. Only reason he's not number 1 is, in my opinion, he's a little bit less safe. Granted, you can go through the player-made walls with Ganesh. Please make sure you know that. But essentially, he buffs the fuck out of his team, and that is completely underestimated. Extremely, extremely underestimated. Please make sure you read through the abilities. You know he has high damage. I mean, he's sitting on a 330 max rank with 55% scaling. Granted, you're not building much magical power. And then you're getting bonus. You're giving your team... So look. You curse your enemies with his unconsiderable willpower, damaging them. All right. For each enemy he hits, up to 5, all your teammates around within 55 units get bonus damage. So if you hit 3 people with this, they're doing 6% more damage. It seems minimal. Like it seems like 6%, blah, blah, blah. It adds the fuck up. If all of your teammates are around you and they're getting a buff, that's a lot of extra damage in that team fight. It's a shit ton. Please. Please, please. And then remember, your 2, you're getting protections when you're using your own. That's why it's good to use even if you aren't hitting somebody. If you're about to take damage, use it. You take less damage. Easy peasy. Remember, you can dash through player walls. And then your ultimate. There is a combo on Ganesh that the best Ganesh players are doing all the time, and a lot of the weaker players are not. It does take time. It takes some practice. Get used to it. If you drop your Ganesh ult in the right place and then knock him up with your 3, you can knock them up in your Ganesh wall, in the line. Remember, not in the middle of the Ganesh wall, in the line of damage. There's a square around the outside of that square. They do damage if they're in it. If you knock them up in this, they're in there for a good 2 seconds. That is a shit ton of damage. Ganesh's ult is doing damage every, 0.5 seconds, I think? Does it say anywhere in here? I believe it does damage. It takes every 0.5 seconds. It might be a little bit less than that. I'm not sure, but that's a lot of damage. 95 per hit at rank 1. It lasts for 6 seconds. If you can get someone in there for 2 or 3 or 4 seconds, you're a support hitting for 3, 4, 500. That's insane. A perfectly placed Ganesh ult can win the game, and it's super undervalued. The top players know this. Top players use it the way it's supposed to be used, and that is why you're seeing Ganesh more, as well as the fact that he gives high pressure that we talked about with Sylvanas. His clear is really, really good. Decent amount of damage, plus the buff for your team to make clear even better. Really strong god. All right, that's number 2. Now let's go to number 1. Fafnir. Easy peasy. You guys should know Fafnir by now. His ultimate is insane. If you ultimate, you're 1 and you're 3 stunned. If you're not an ultimate, you're 1 stunned. Your 2 will heal you. Your 2 will buff your team. If you're in your Fafnir ult, your 2 then becomes an AoE, and it allows all your team to attack and do more damage and attack faster. Remember, you have the self heal. So Fafnir's idea is he's got crazy lockdown. His ability to jump in, stun somebody, be in out of position, take a little bit of damage, ultimate, become immune to that damage, and then re-engage with another jump, another fucking one, and just keep your team going is awesome. That's one side of Fafnir. That is one play style. Then you have a side of Fafnir where he can peel really well because, once again, he has this stun. He's got a disarm on his 3. He can ultimate. He can turn around and stun somebody for 3 seconds between his 1 and his 3 combo. More peel, right? Awesome. Then he's got this third side where you can rush down objectives. If you have a hunter in, say, someone else who does well with auto attacks, if you have 2 hunters, if you have a hunter and a soul, a hunter and a Chronos, even just a fucking hunter, to be honest, and then some mage that can secure the objective, you can blow up a Gold Fury in like 5 seconds. So if you see someone back and you see other people on the other side of the map, they're in solo lane, call that fucking objective, call that Gold Fury, run over there, pop your 2 on the person, pop your Fafnir ult, pop your 2 on your person and the other guy, tank that bitch, kill it, easy peasy, you have a lead. Fafnir can do all 3 of these things. You can, and the playstyles aren't directly like, you don't have to pick one playstyle. These things all come up in a game. This playstyle can just be adapted as you go. So when you're playing Fafnir, remember, he can do all 3 styles. He can do all 3 things: aggressive, defensive, objective based, whatever you need him to do, he can do it. And also remember, you throw out the hammers like a motherfucker. Group with your team. Tell them you're going to turn this corner and you're going to look for a hammer. Your hammer goes through the walls. It's something that is very unexpected. It's very easy to poke. You can throw your hammer and throw a raw one. You can throw your hammer and Hebo combo. Like, you can do a lot of damage, and you can be very aggressive with Fafnir, and that's what you're going to be looking to do to take advantage of this god early. And then if it doesn't work out, remember, you can peel for your team. You can turn fights. You can just look for objectives. You got it all. Easy peasy. Hopefully the build helps you guys out a little bit. Once again, builds can change. You can do what you really need to do with a support build. The aura builds are out. People are not focusing on them. They're going more selfish, especially in ranked, and that's okay for you to go a more selfish build. You are getting some auras out of those items. Shogun's great for your team. Really, really good for your team, especially if you're grouping up. The Gauntlet of Thebes, aura for your team. Even the I always forget the name of the items. I'm going to jump back in here just because I forget every single time. The Jade Emperors, even get an aura there where you make the other team have less power. So you are actually being a little bit of selfish, but also you're helping your team just in a little bit of a different way when you're not focusing on sovereignty and Heart Ward and all that bullshit. So look at other supports if you need help with builds. This should very rarely be an issue for you. You shouldn't really have to. You should be able to build what I told you and be good to go. But if you're looking to branch out, you're looking to learn a little bit more, you can go look at Milzy. He has a YouTube. He does a decent amount of guides. You can jump on and watch Jeff Hinla. You can watch iRaffer on Twitch if you guys want to, because their builds are going to be a little bit different. They're going to experiment with stuff. So if those are what you need to see, go ahead and jump on there after watching this video. Help yourself out. There's VODs in there. They don't have to be live streaming. You can go watch their VODs and figure stuff out. Do some research yourself, but these builds will do what you need them to do. They will get you wins, I promise you. So hopefully this video helped you guys. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We're really close to 100K. I want to hit that by Christmas. That's my goal. But before the end of the year for sure, Christmas is the goal. Have a good day, guys, and I will see you all later.